Breaking through the sea floor, volcanoes erupted some 3 to 5 million years ago and created the Galapagos Islands, 600 miles from any other land. Animals living in such splendid isolation changed over time, adapting to the circumstances found here and nowhere else. Such change is called evolution, and marine iguanas, the only diving lizards in the world, are prime examples of evolution in action. Scientists believe that marine iguanas were once land-based like all other lizards. Perhaps violent storms swept them to sea and far away from their native South America. Fortunately, iguanas have a tolerance for salt water and are able to go without food for long stretches. These traits kept them alive for the long voyage to the islands. Barren volcanic rock offers up next to nothing for marine iguanas to eat. These animals looked back to the sea for food. No doubt they started at the water's edge, eating crustaceans, algae, and the occasional grasshopper. Most iguanas still feed here, taking advantage of exposed reefs close to shore. But the more adventurous, typically male marine iguanas, go diving for dinner. This unique adaptation allows them to take advantage of algae salad as far as 40 feet below the surface. A typical dive lasts 5 to 10 minutes, but iguanas can stay under for an hour. All that diving chills iguanas. They lose as much as 10 degrees in the water, so sunbaths are an essential part of the daily routine. Then there are the salt showers. Because of their salty diet, marine iguanas have developed salt glands above their eyes, connected to their nostrils. They just sneeze the salt away. How successful are these customized critters? Their numbers are some 300,000 strong. Call someone a reptile, and they aren't likely to take it as a compliment. But reptiles, including turtles, lizards, crocodiles, and snakes, have been around longer than we have. Scaly skin and cold-bloodedness must have their advantages. Here's one. A reptile's scaly skin helps it keep from drying out. Amphibians, like frogs and toads, are far more limited in their travels. Their moist skin makes them completely dependent on water, and they rarely live too far from it. Scales have other advantages. Snakes use them to help grip the ground. In most snakes, belly scales form overlapping plates. The plate's loose edges catch the ground and help produce a snake's legless glide. In turtles and tortoises, some scales have evolved into armored shells. Land-based tortoises, like the enormous Galapagos variety, have high domed shells too big to bite. Sea turtles' body design makes moving awkward on land. Their shells are streamlined for underwater mobility. Under that scaly skin, reptiles are vertebrates with a host of unique adaptations. Crocodilian design works well in water. The long tail makes swimming easy. And a flap in the back of the throat keeps water from rushing into the lungs, allowing crocodiles to breathe underwater. A few smaller land-based reptiles, like the horned lizards, are well adapted to desert life. With few places to hide, horned lizards' camouflage helps them fade into the background, and an impressive array of spikes discourages predators when the camouflage isn't enough. As varied and complex as the habitats they occupy, reptile species outnumber mammals. And though we refer to them as cold-blooded, their blood may be as warm or warmer than ours. The term means only that reptiles can't regulate their own temperatures and use behavioral means to heat up or cool off.
To look at them, you'd never know it, but these ants are fungus farmers. The leafcutter ants of South America are the epitome of teamwork. Living in colonies of several 100,000 to 1 million, each ant has a specific role to play within its colony. And each one of them depends on this fungus to survive. The relationship between the ants and the fungus is exclusive. Neither one is found in nature without the other. The ants cut discs out of leaves and carry them to underground nests. Then they shred them and use them for growing the fungus. Inside the huge subterranean fungus gardens, thousands of ants work to cultivate the fungus for food. The ants cannot digest the plant molecules in the leaves, but the fungus can, so it grows and provides a source of food for the ants. The fungus benefits from this arrangement too. The ants provide it with a constant supply of food. Each ant in the leafcutter ant colony has a specific job to do and knows how to do it instinctively. The largest ants are the gatherers. They brave the outside world to cut the discs out of leaves. Then they carry them back to the nest. The smaller ants take over. They shred the discs into minute pieces, mix them with their saliva, and add them to the garden. The smallest ants care for the fungus garden. They transplant bits of fungus from an older part of the garden to the newer part to promote growth. They add their saliva to the garden and walk over it constantly. The ants harvest the fungus before it begins to sprout into mushrooms. They gather it and feed it to their larvae or eat it themselves. In this amazing colony, each individual type of ant works for the good of the group, and fungi are an essential element of these ants' survival. This symbiotic relationship benefits both the ants and the fungi. Nature is full of such relationships, and the survival of many animal, plant, and fungus species depends on them.